Hello everyone, my name is Raging Raptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks preview video, and today I'm excited to talk about the, recently or now released super test changes to the EBR line. And as you know, those are still super tests, and as you know, so many people ask for them and Wargaming teased us constantly. And once again, I am starting to have a feeling that Wargaming really does want to do a full balancing update to do it as marketing. Nevertheless, that's a topic for another video which I already did. Now let's jump in what Wargaming wants to change with those vehicles. Now, today's table of content is they want to increase the slow for hitting a wheel, and they want to adjust characteristics of firepower and mobility. Now, what and why do they and how do they want to do the increased slow for hitting a wheel? They say that previously you didn't lose a lot of speed when getting hit on one wheel and it gets destroyed. And that is true. Because right now, if you, for example, are straight lining and you don't do any maneuvering, one wheel hit will not do anything to you. You're still going 95 kph. Only if you start maneuvering, you are starting to lose speed and acceleration. So yeah, the fix is to increase the slow for hitting a wheel. The speed will only decrease, however, if the wheels touch the ground. So for example, if you are in the speed mode, in the Lynx, in the EBR9, in the EBR 105, and you get hit in your metal rims and metal middle wheels, it's not going to matter if you are in speed mode. It will only matter if you, for example, are in mobility mode, in the one where you are much more mobile, left and right. Also important, each subsequently damaged wheel will have a decreased effect, meaning that you are not going to lose as much speed as before. So for example, if you lose around 30% of your speed with the first wheel being damaged, the next one will only around to 15 or 20%. And this is most importantly, it will affect all wheeled tanks, because it's a mechanic change, aka it will also affect the EBR 75 FL10 and the lower tiered wheeled tanks, because today we actually only have changes to the tier 10 and the tier 9 one, which I can understand, because the tier 8, in my opinion, at least the tech tree one, is fairly balanced. The tier 7 and the tier 6 just need a little bit of brain from a normal scout players to fight against them, because the only thing they have is their HE and guns. They're not good for active scouting, and that's it. I know that from experience after free marking all of them. And I know a lot of people might hate me for that. Now, let's see what exactly is changing with an example. In 1.9.1, again, if one wheel is hit, you go from 95 kph to 95 kph. As long as you're not maneuvering, your tank, your EBR 105 don't give a shit. Really, they don't give a shit, they just keep on going. If two wheels are hit, you're still going at 75 kph. Now, in the super test, however, this is changed drastically. If one wheel is hit, you go all the way down from 95 to 68 kph, which is actually slower than, for example, the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, as well as the T100 LT. And if another wheel is going to get hit, which is quite likely as you're much, much slower, well, you go from 68 to 52 kph. Now that is a very, very interesting change, and I think a lot of people will like this, because now finally there is a point in getting a wheel hit. Right now, many people are saying, oh yeah, it doesn't matter if they are absorbing the damage and we're not doing anything to them, because they're still going like Speed Gonzalez, la-di-da. This is a huge nerf in my opinion, and especially in a competitive scene, this is going to hamper the tank's ability insanely. Now, how does this look like? Because Wargaming provided us with a nice little animation. You can see up top, our wheel gets hit, it's just one, we're still going 95 kph, there was no slowdown. If twos are hit, well, we go down to all the way to around 75 kph. Now, here, this is the super test. We get hit and immediately we lose a shite ton of speed. And if a second one is getting hit, we're going down all the way to 52 kph. And we can even see this, we are having comparison. You can see that at the same speed, they're starting at the same point. And now this tank is going over this rock, while this one is just now going over this rock. So this is a very big change in my personal opinion. Will it be enough? It's hard to judge just from the pictures. From experience, and again, I personally do have a lot of experience in EBR playstyles, as I did free market the tank when it came out and had pumped around 550 games in it, and from personal feeling, this will make a huge difference. And in a competitive game, this can make even a bigger difference, because suddenly the EBR 105 does need to wait to do another spotting run when he has his big repair kit up again. Because again, this is huge. This is insane how much speed you're going to lose, and it will be hard for you to get into cover. So meaning you sometimes have to wait 90 seconds until your repair kit is up again. Now, let's talk about the adjusted characteristics of firepower and mobility. The changed tanks are again only the EBR 105 and the EBR 90, which makes to me personally sense. I don't consider the Lynx to be very overpowered or strong. It does have a great gun if you know how to use it, but it is a very bad active scouting tank. Not only is its hitbox insanely huge, it is incredibly weakly armored, it doesn't have the magic wheels like the EBR series has, and well, against the premium one, you're gonna get slaughtered. The premium one obviously cannot get nerfed by its characteristics, because it is a premium and Wargaming doesn't want to nerf premiums, and the lower tier tanks, it's hard to judge. I personally didn't think they are incredibly overpowered. They are thriving on people in other scouts, for example, playing not smartly. Yes, the tier 7 has an insane alpha damage of 260 with 75mm of penetration. But then again, that's the only real thing it has, and a little bit of speed. It is big, it is clumsy. But maybe this is something you disagree with, and let me know in the comment section below. They say their goal is to keep a distinctive gameplay without making them overperform. Hence why there are some characteristics which get changed. And obviously, those changes are not final. Again, in my interpretation, it took them so long to figure out all those kinks, even though they said countless and countless times ago in different Q&As that they are going to nerf them. So now, let's have a look at the changes to the EBR 105. The first thing they changed is the accuracy on the move. Here, they changed, for example, the accuracy on the move from the hull from 0.06 to 0.08, which is now the same as the Object 140, which is still very good, but it is not the best anymore. Then they changed the dispersion on the turret traverse from 0.03 to 0.04, and that is almost comparable to what the T100 LT has with 0.05 accuracy on turret traverse. To this I want to say, if, for example, you right now are playing with a tank gun rammer and you decide to put in a vertical stabilizer, those nerfs are basically just going to get mitigated and there won't be anything you will notice. However, you are going to give up to 12.5% of your DPM. This means that, for example, from 9.5 seconds, you go all the way up to 11.5 seconds, roughly, if I'm not mistaken, in my head. They also changed the aim time from 1.2 to 1.4 seconds, which is now more comparable to the Guerrilla 15, which has around 1.44. However, do not forget, Guerrilla 15's soft stats are insanely bad. Now, this change is fairly understandable, and it's also a pretty decent one, but it's not like one which will break the tank. The next one is they changed the view range from 350 meters to 340 meters. This is still 10 meters more than what the EBR 90 has with 330, but that's a significant nerf. But the biggest issue is, with a good crew and a clan war setup of a top tier clan, you still have enough view range to cap out at 445 meters plus. Now, this is how it looks in my EBR on 1.9.1. We have a 350 meters of base view range with improved optics, with improved vents. We are getting up to 460 meters. Obviously, you have to run rations. You have to have a crew with brothers in arms, with this, with the both view range perks for the commander as well as for the radio operator, and with none of the directives. No directives at all, because after time they can get very expensive, and I personally usually only use them in very certain situations. And I mostly opt out for the camo one anyway, because the camo is always useful, while the just like 5 or 10 meters more view range is not useful all the time. Now, I went to the other tank with 340 meters of view range, being the AMX 40, put in a completely skilled crew because of CC accounts, put in the improved vents and improved optics, and we were still able to get 446 meters of view range with rations. Again, meaning we can cap up at 445 meters plus. 40 meters of view range change, this is obviously significant, but it still means that you are able to cap out, which is something you can really enjoy. And another thing is, I don't really want to talk about this right now, but when we are looking at the new perks or the new changed perks of Equipment 2.0, and knowing that the EBR is going to have a spotting slot, you are going most likely to put one of this special camo breaking spotting thingy in your spotting slot, and suddenly you're not going to lose anything out because you're gaining 12.5% on spotting through bushes, and on the open field around 20%, if I'm not mistaken. That is still a huge change. A change which basically mitigates this nerf right here. However, you are going to lose your rammer most likely. Now, and lastly, Wargaming decided to change the engine power from 750 to 720, giving it 42 HP per ton ratio instead of 44, which is not a big change. However, they did nerf the mobility. Made a slight mistake there. From 95 kph top speed to 91, and from 70 kph top speed in rapid mode or the fast mode to 65. This one right here, I'm sorry, it's a slight mistake, I didn't see. And lastly, they changed the engine fire rate from 0.1 or 10% to 15%. Yeah, so overall, all summing up with the added nerf of the mobility, this is quite significant. Like, every single nerf on its own isn't that big of a deal. But everything adding up, this might be, most likely be the doom of the EBR 105. And make them much more in line with other tanks. Still, don't forget, it has still insanely good gun handling. It still has 500 alpha with HE. And I think that this tank will become much more skill-based. Sure, 4 kph top speed change isn't that big. But for a bad player or a meh player to get back into cover as soon as he gets hit on a wheel will probably be much harder, because usually the meh players are the ones which just YOLO around like a blah 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 blah. The good players, however, will most likely use what they have to their disposal, like good camouflage to get into crucial positions very quickly. One of the best examples would be, for example, in Red Shadow to go into a middle bush, or which would be on Malnovka to get the middle ridge bush, which is a very strong position which I countless time talked about. Now, yeah, this is how you see it, just so you know. Again, I have a fully perk crew on my CC account, which is Raging Raptor DE, which stands for Germany, because it's my German account and I am German CC. And again, here is my EBR 105 with its fully equipped everything on max as well here when it comes to view range, and have 460 meters of view range. Now, the EBR 90 also got some nerfs, as already mentioned. They are, however, not that significant. From 85 to 83 in both modes, and from 40 HP per ton ratio to 38.6 HP per ton ratio. Those changes are, in my opinion, they don't really matter. Sure, EBR 90 can be strong, but I hardly heard a lot of people talking about EBR 90 being busted and overpowered, and they hate it with their whole heart. I do consider it to be a strong tank if you know what you're doing. However, not being able to reach maximum view range might be a little bit disheartening. However, what I do enjoy about the EBR 90 a lot more about the EBR 105 is its smaller profile. The turret is quite smaller, the rear of the tank is modeled differently, it is faster in reverse, as you can see, 83 instead of the proposed 65 kph, and well, it looks more pleasing to me personally. I do enjoy the EBR-90 lately a lot more than the Tier 10. However, again, this tank will also have the nerfs of the mobility when he gets hit in the wheels. So now, let's move on to the conclusion. I think that those changes are going to be good enough to make those tanks fall in line. I do think that those changes most likely will make the T100 LT once again be the top dog of scouting. Because the biggest advantage of the EBR 105 is to go into a position very quickly and do some early spotting. After that, it is basically a tank which is just there to, do damage. That's literally all it is. It's even what Wargaming is saying when it comes to this tank in ranked battles. I'm now talking about competitive games. I still think that the EBR 105 will still be immensely strong when it comes to competitive gaming. It will still be used on maps like Cliff, like Malinovka, like Prokhorovka, etc., 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 because of its superior speed. In general, if you're going to get hit with the tank, you made something very, very wrong, or the enemy was very, very good at hitting you. The 4 kph top speed difference isn't a big deal in my personal opinion. Getting hit in a wheel again in a competitive environment should make a big difference because usually you will get into cover quickly enough. Again, EBRs in a competitive way are a lot more about making early spots to let your field commander know where they have to go or where the enemy is coming from. However, I do think that on some maps, maybe like Malinovka, people will start to use once again T100 LTs because of their superior camouflage and much better view range capabilities, especially with binos and much better camouflage, especially with a camo net. And maybe when, for example, right now you have 3 to 4 EBRs, even on Malinovka, you will probably just push it down to 2 and have 2 T100 LTs or even just 1. In random battles, I think those changes will have the biggest impact because it punishes bad EBR players or not the best EBR players much, much better than good players. I consider that I still will perform decently well in this tank. I do consider, however, that bad EBR players, like the ones which many people hate the most when they're just like yodeling around on the field of Malinovka, not gonna get hit. Those ones are going to get hit the most. Because as soon as they get hit in one of their wheels and they don't repair it, it is slap time for them because their speed drops massively. For the EBR-90, again, I don't think the changes are going to be big. The only thing I personally am scared is that the community is going to act up because those changes are global, meaning it will hit the premium, the EBR-75 FL10. However, again, I am up for it because its dominance in frontline, as you probably know, as I know myself, is still very strong. However, let me know in the comment section below what you think about those changes. Do you think they are enough? Do you think that suddenly in competitive, like mostly normal scouts will have a much better chance against EBRs? Sure, if they yule at you, they still have the ability to slap you for 500. However, it will be a little bit harder as their guns are not as accurate anymore on the move, as you could see from the changes. But that's about it. Now, it's your time to tell me what I did good and what I could do better. Did you enjoy today's video? It might be a little bit dry because I don't have any gameplay for you, but I think it is a little bit better as we can dive deeper into the things. I decided to talk, I hope I talked slowly, because I tend to sometimes be a little bit on the rushed side, especially when I have to do 4 videos, because I did this on the 23rd and not the 24th, and today the changes for Sandbox came out, screw me, and tomorrow I have an exam, screw me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Again, let me know in the comment section below what I can do better. Do you need gameplay footage for videos like this? Or is my explanation good enough for you to understand? And as always, if you're new to the channel, whoops, that was the wrong button. Feedback, for example. And if you're new to the channel and you want to support me, don't forget to subscribe and maybe ring the bell. I don't really think the ringing the bell is the most important thing, but subscribe to just keep always up to date with my latest videos. thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share it even with your friends if you really want to. My name is Raging Raptor. Cheers, and good luck on the battlefield, and good luck to me for my exams. Cheers.